I am going to take you through a type of cyber assault called a DDoS attack, or a distributed denial of service attack. So, during this type of attack, a website or an online service is flooded with requests while real users then cannot connect, denying access to the site or service, which is obviously not ideal. To better understand this, we can start by thinking about when this happens unintentionally. You might have experienced this, or you've gone to buy concert tickets. Concert tickets are always the ones that everybody uses as an example. Why they don't think that people can, like, you know, that you've got an arena and you have that many tickets, therefore you need to at least let that many people onto your site. People who run venue sites don't seem to understand what load balancers are either. But anyway, let's not get into that. It seems like every other person on the planet then wants to buy that ticket too. I'm going to bet money that all of us on the recording have at least stumbled into one of these things.
Yeah, which you can see that it's starting to become more prevalent, because now instead of having to refresh at 8 a.m. in the morning every time, often it's preceding event of you've got to get to the queue to be on the early sales. Without even infrastructure, they're starting to throttle how do you even get to the landing page beforehand. Yeah, tickets are definitely the most prominent exposure in my life of something like that.
Yes. When too many requests hit a website at once, its infrastructure gets overwhelmed and the site might not load properly. Most of us have experienced this type of issue, but you might not realize that this pattern can actually be applied intentionally as well, as a way to target a company's reputation or infrastructure, which is what makes it then a DDoS attack. Do any of you, other of you, have any ideas about how this works?
I have a guess that it's a lot easier in safety in numbers, and I shouldn't say safety because DDoS is not safety, but to spread your load out wide and then everyone funnel in at once. So instead of just having my computer try to do it, I'll try to get multiple computers to try to do it. And if I'm trying to cram everyone in the door at once, I'm deliberately blocking the door. But it's a very watered down version of what I assume it is.
See, I have to assume it's robots. Evil robots. All of the neighborhood Roombas at once get a message and they all go outside, and all of the neighborhood Roombas go outside and are on the street blocking traffic. Some sort of robot attack.
Have you seen the room full of Roombas and the children with confetti? They
No.
like pull confetti poppers, and then like if Roombas had an expression on their face, it would definitely be, oh God.
Not again.
I'm going the other way, where there was a guy that tried to get access to his own vacuum robot and control it with like a game controller, but he accidentally got access to 11,000 of them, I think the number was. So he got access to everybody's, and in theory, he can map everyone's house. It was an accident before he notified the organization and said, hey, I've accidentally got access to this, but that's another topic we could dive down into another time.
Botnets and DDoS attacks. So it actually relies on a huge number of hijacked devices, kind of what you were saying, and doing this is called a botnet. So it could be thousands or even millions of devices, and all that make a coordinated set of requests directed at the same target. A botnet is typically created when an attacker installs malware on devices, enabling them to orchestrate the attack. So sometimes the attack is for financial gain, like extorting the target. It could also be a form of activism or hacktivism if the attackers disapprove of the target in some way. Or it could be just for fun, if you can call it that. Sometimes it's just for the challenge of taking a site down.
I'm pretty sure from the target's perspective, DDoS is not going to be fun. And I would assume it's going to be pretty darn stressful.
100%. So since these requests are coming from regular devices, it can be actually really hard to tell at the first influx of traffic it's even an attack. So the target company will typically notice that there's something suspicious about their web traffic or load times and hopefully respond quickly. Some of the services out there have nailed this ridiculously well, and like, you know, all load balancers and kind of analysis of traffic and everything. It's an art form, I think, defending yourself against these. And once the attack has been identified, the company can thankfully take action to resolve it. They'll typically contact their cloud or internet service provider to rate limit requests for each IP address or even block suspicious IPs. These both help with the number of requests coming in.
It's funny you say that because I had a real life experience with where I was almost part of one. Where back in the day, if you like bootleg some applications to stream services for free, which is not recommended, if you're doing anything for free, you are paying with your data. And then my IP address was attempting to ping somewhere overseas, and they were leveraging my Internet of Things to act as a vector to access other things. So, it's weird when you're a part of one too. My machines were the part of that mass approach, but I think that's where companies can then take plans as well to avoid being targeted themselves again and again and again. So I imagine this kind of includes steps that most busy websites need to consider anyway. And since influxes in traffic can be an issue when it's from your regular users, I know that just an example, companies might use firewalls to filter suspicious traffic or load balancers, which then distribute web traffic across multiple servers when demand increases. And there are even DDoS mitigation services to help delegate this kind of work. If you need additional help, you can kind of search them, and then, classic search engine optimization, there's tons of them as well. So the industry's quite big.
Nice. And the upside here is that a DDoS attack isn't a threat to the end user, as inconvenient as it may be. But if you try to visit a website that won't load, remember to send some positive energy towards their IT team is probably struggling to get it back online. And I also know a lot of these attacks are because when a system is down and then you bring it back online, sometimes all of the security checks and kind of things that need to be brought back online in order to bring them online in the right process in the right ways and like in order to make it completely secure again, those sometimes these DDoS attacks are kind of like to try and wedge something inside the door to make it part of a wider attack. So yeah,
it's definitely the thankless job behind the scenes when IT teams get pinged at 2 or 3 in the morning and they've got to get up and get these kind of things fixed. So next time you're sitting there refreshing the page to your concert provider and the websites are down, just think about the poor team on the other end trying to let more people in the door safely.